Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us up until this far. As we started the conversation earlier on, we spoke about bullying. What is bullying? We defined bullying. I asked you to send in your feedback, and I asked you to send in your feedback in regards to bullying, the things you've seen through bullying, either as a victim, a witness, or a perpetrator. I requested you to tell us your stories. If you've been bullied, tell us your experience being bullied. If you are a witness, tell us what it is you saw, your people being bullied, or the experiences you've had with people who've been bullied. And if you are a perpetrator, why were you bullying people? Why? What was your issue? What was going on? I will read some of your feedback. We have Sparks Pipey. Bullies are cruel people who hurt our emotions. We also have Mtoto wa Mariam, Nina Gikunda will be my health. CS, Karibu niende, another booster of COVID vaccination. Imagine, please go get it. Please go get it. Go get vaccinated. It's for the better. Mtoto wa Mariam, stand your ground in case bullies come your way. That's wise. It's us who condone bullying because we allow those villains to trash us and to tear us to pieces. On set with me, I have one Mr. Mugane Mugo. Right before I introduce you to our expert, I'd like us to look at the types of bullying. Did you know that there are types of bullying? There are 4 types of bullying. Number 1, we have verbal bullying, which is saying or writing mean things such as teasing, name-calling, threatening to cause harm, etc. Number 2, we have social bullying, sometimes referred to as relational bullying, involves hurting someone's reputation and or relationships, which includes leaving someone out on purpose, spreading rumors about someone, embarrassing someone in public. And we also have the third one, which is physical bullying. It involves hurting a person's body or possessions, such as making mean or rude hand gestures, kicking, pinching, beating someone, etc. We also have cyberbullying, which is the current menace of social media, which includes sending hurtful or threatening emails, posts on social media, and instant messages, spreading rumors, and or posting embarrassing photos of others. We all are aware of bullying at schools, and most especially if one went to school in a Kenyan school setting. We all do have a story on bullying, you know. All, like I said earlier, all as a victim, a witness, or a perpetrator. Right before we get into your stories, I'd like to introduce Mr. Mugane Mugo. Karibu sana kwenye set.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you, John.
How are you feeling this beautiful morning?
First of all, thank you for having me. I feel privileged to be here, so that we can talk about these issues because they're happening. Yes.
Karibu sana. Like I asked, do you have a story on bullying? In high school, in primary? Were you bullied?
Of course, I was bullied in my first public school. Actually, I attended 3 schools in my high school. But, you know, where you find that the Form 4s have this power that they can't even do their shirts in terms of laundry and all that. So when you are a Form 1 student and you wash your shirt and you hang it for drying, later when you come back, you find a dirty shirt
has been unhanged.
Yes, it
In
has.
my school, we used to call it shopping. We would go shopping. No, I was not a bully, but people used to do it. It's people who used to do it.
So, but one of the most ugly scenarios that I experienced in my high school days is with my pocket money.
Oh.
Yes. So we had this system. I don't know whether it still exists, whereby if you're a Form 1 student, you have to sleep in the Kyoto. If the bed is a double decker, the Kyoto is the
or the bed in Ikoju.
Yes, in Ikoju. So the Form 4s and the Form 3s and the rest walikuwa na kanini ya chini. the ground floor.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
You know. So now every time when I report back, these Form 4s would like request me to give them my pocket money, and then they'd allocate the money and spread it in the term. Mono leo utakula mkate ya 30. You know. So
they became your finance manager.
Yes.
By default.
And like the sad thing about bullying, even when you take it now maybe to the authorities or the administration, these people you will be staying with them more than you stay with the teachers.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
You're in the dormitories together. The teacher just comes for a lesson of 40 minutes and they leave. In the evening, there are no teachers. You're in the dormitory with these bullies. So you find that even having a voice puts you even in a more tragic situation. Yes.
So now, how does this translate into the working environment? Did how you were bullied in school, or if you were a bully, translate into this current adult life? Like if you were bullied when you were younger, does it make you more fearful in your adulthood, or does it also turn you into a bully, you know, to revenge? Because I was bullied, it's my turn to bully others, because why not?
Okay. Actually, what I can say is that this depends on how much you strengthen your inner person. The individuals who decide that they'll graduate from being victims of bullying to bullies. They retaliate. You know. But if you come to terms with this and realize there are particular things that are socially acceptable, you know, in terms of you don't have to be so vengeful about someone that is not on the right track. You see. So Nina, for example, about my experience, initially when I got to Form 2, now in those days, I was kind of bitter, you know, and I really felt that I need an avenue whereby maybe I can now suppress a Form 1 or something like that to feel in place, you know. But we have bullies who graduate. Now, the worst thing about bullies who graduate is they don't do it out of they want something.
They just want to revenge.
They just want to revenge and feel good about themselves. They want to return the favor. The favor that you know. Yeah. So what I think happens so much in the workplace is that sometimes we have a lot of insecurities about maybe a junior employee that is more empowered than me. You know, sometimes you go maybe to an office and you find that maybe you hold higher credentials in terms of academics than the boss, but he's the boss. So in one way or the other, if this person has been subjected to bullying in such an environment, now the employee with the higher credentials, one day when they find another employee that is junior with higher credentials than them, they might be tempted to revenge.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, in line with whatever you have said, I'd like to highlight the types of workplace harassment.
Yeah.
Types of workplace harassments and or bullying. We have number 1, abuse of power. That could include shifting deadlines on a project, imposing requirements the employee could never fulfill, or imposing job duties that are demeaning and beneath an employee's rank in some jurisdictions. Abuse of power could include making constant demands during off hours. Number 2, we have psychological harassment. This can be overt or subtle. For example, co-workers might exclude an employee from staff gatherings and or constantly put down the employee's suggestions. Co-workers could also harass the employee by making him or her the victim of incessant pranks, or by leaving disturbing pictures or objects at the person's desk or locker. Number three, we also have online bullying. Not surprisingly, this form of harassment has become a much greater concern since the pandemic forced large portions of the workforce to work from home. In some ways, online harassment can be even more subtle than in-person harassment. A co-worker sending an emoji with ambiguous context that could be construed as flirty. A supervisor sending emails or messages at all hours where the employee feels that his or her personal time has been erased. That's quite some information. What do you have to say?
Okay, first of all, what I think about the deadlines. You find that maybe you're not getting along well with the boss.
Yes.
And they decide that now, since we are not getting along with Nina, what I can do is to frustrate her and paint a picture of someone that is not delivering. So you find, for example, maybe you have a project that you're supposed to do for 3 days. But then all of a sudden you've decided maybe I'll start this project when it's 2 days due. All of a sudden 1 day later,
your boss wants the work.
And with very strict deadlines. Yes. Saa sita hii kazi iko hapa. So
that is bullying.
That is bullying. But now you see, Nina, let me highlight this. The only problem, or the biggest problem in the workplace is that bullying is so, I don't know, to call it sugar-coated or something, to an extent that employees don't understand that it is bullying.
Is there a difference between bullying and harassment?
Basically, there's a thin line between bullying and harassment because there are different forms of harassment. But when you talk about bullying, we talk about humiliation. We talk about a deliberate move to belittle someone. We talk about embarrassing someone in public. When you talk about harassment, the reason why there's a thin line is because when you talk about sexual harassment, there is also sexual bullying.
What?
Yes.
Please help me understand how.
Okay. When you talk about sexual bullying, especially in the workplace, and this happens so much to the female employees or female staff, you find that maybe the male employees in that workplace, they have branded you according maybe to how you look or how you dress, according to particular anatomical features and all that. Yes. So, actually, do you know that even looking at someone suggestively as they walk around the corridors of the office, and it makes them uncomfortable, that is bullying. It is sexual bullying.
What?
Yes.
Just the eyes?
Yes, just the eyes. Even unwanted gestures, unwelcome gestures.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do you do about it? What can be done about it?
First of all, okay, the problem with our system, basically, like the entire system is collapsing. You find that even the institutions that are entrusted with dealing with issues from the employees and complaints from the employees, they're not so...
They're not taken seriously.
Not even taken seriously. You find that these people, they are collaborators.
Oh.
They have people that feed them within those institutions that are perpetrators.
By saying these people, who are these people?
When you talk about these people, I'm talking basically about the employer. You find maybe the employer is harassing you or fellow employees are harassing you. But, Nina, when you go to an office setup or an institution setup, you find that people have grouped themselves to particular social classes or with particular interests.
Yes.
So you find that there are people who go home together in the evening. There are people who go for lunch together. There are people who do particular things together.
Yes.
And you find even the bosses, they have friends with the junior employees. There are people that even when you report them,
it will not be taken
it will not be taken seriously. So I think one of the things that we need to fix is these institutions that are entrusted with fighting for the rights of the employees. Yes.
Wow. What are some of the psychological effects of bullying?
Okay.
Like all the way from high school into the workplace. Like the way you're saying, maybe when you were bullied when you were in high school, and then you're working, and this is a perfect opportunity for you to bully someone. Is that a psychological effect?
Yes, it's a psychological effect. And, you know, when you talk about psychological effects, we are talking about a picture. Actually, let me, for the purpose of demystifying this, and for background, when someone bullies you, Nina, they are painting a picture in you, a picture of, they're like convincing you that you're not worthy, number one. They're also trying to convince you that you are weak. You know, for example, let's say an instance whereby you've been bullied for an appearance or because of your race. Anytime you go even to the marketplace, anytime you go to an interview, you don't feel that this is a place of equal opportunity, because someone has painted a picture. Yes, someone has painted a picture that people who look like this, people who look like you are not normal. You know? So you find that this person will have a lot of confidence issues. You know, they have a lot of insecurities with themselves. That being one of the psychological issues. Another thing, bullying can cause depression.
Really?
Yes. For example, you know, when we talk about personalities and personality strengths, basically, these are social processes. Yes, your personality involves a social process. Meaning that if this social process is tampered with, if whoever you're associating with is painting a picture, because everyone wants to belong. That's why people belong to groups, churches, and all that.
Yes.
Yes. So if people constantly paint a picture of worthlessness, they belittle you, you know, your confidence levels constantly go down. Yes.
Now, there's a bully, there's a victim and the perpetrator.
Yes.
It is said that a bully... No, let me first ask. What do you think goes through the mind of someone when they wake up and just decide to start bullying people? What happens? What goes on? Because now we know, like, there's that one who got bullied and decided to be a bully. But what about this one who just started bullying people? Okay.
What I can say is that a lot of people bully for a reason. You know, apart from revenge, maybe it's something that you and also blackmail. You know, people maybe decide that they have spotted your weakness somewhere, or there is something that you did, but you don't want it in the public. So these people, they'll bully you with that. They blackmail you. You're getting? So every time, if they don't beat you down to submission, you are at risk of your secrets being exposed. That is one. Another thing, as you know, we are in a very competitive world. So everyone is looking for a shortcut to get away with something. Yes.
Can you say that bullies also have inferiority complex? In the sense, they feel inferior, they feel like they don't belong. And in that context, they decide, because I feel like I don't belong, I have to show people that I belong. I have to show people that I can fit in. So I will bully people so that they can notice me, so they can notice my power and my strength.
What I think, for bullies that have inferiority complex, they're the ones that have graduated, mostly. Bullies that have graduated from
being
victims.
Bullied.
Yes.
Okay. They graduate from victims to perpetrators.
Okay. So, because they have this feeling, people showed me that I don't belong. So now it's my time to reclaim back my position. You know, another thing, like what I was saying about bosses with less academic qualification than
The employees.
the junior employees. You know, there is that feeling that you want to prove, no matter how many master's degrees you have,
I am still
and I have
bigger
my
than you.
diploma, I'm still on top.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, what does the law say anything about bullying?
What I can say, I'm not a legal expert, but I can really say that every Kenyan or every citizen has a right to fair treatment in the workplace, and there are legal frameworks that govern that. Yes.
In the workspace, I get bullied. Who should I turn to? Whom should I run to?
Now that depends on the framework of the institution, because you find that the institutions that have maybe independent officers within the institution, you know, for example, when you have and we have organizations also and unions. For example, if it's a teacher. Teachers launch their complaints to their unions. Yes, and so on and so forth. Because you find, Nina, sometimes if you decide that it's your boss that is bullying you, where do you go? You know?
Yeah, where do you go?
He's on
That's
top.
the question. Where do you go?
Where do you go? So what I know is that everyone has access to corridors of justice in this nation, and of course, even in the contract, there's what has been stated there, what is required of you as an employee. So I think if you have all that, it is very easy for you to go through legal frameworks and all that and get justice.
What is the role of a HR?
The role of a HR is to coordinate and relations within maybe an institution or a company. Yes.
Is a HR the right person to go to when you're bullied in your office?
Okay. It all depends on how strong the institutions of that company or whatever you are in. Because as we were saying, you find that these people, like the HR also answers to someone.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So sometimes it is tricky to get justice within the institution. Yes, that's the sad fact. Yes.
But in a proper working institution, you know, there has to be somewhere you can run to. There has to be someone, something. Let
me give you my experience somewhere. There is this company I once worked for. It was a debt collection company. So in the contract, they stated that you're supposed to work for 8 hours. You know? But then, as time went by, these people decide that because we have a lot of unsettled debts, we have a lot of defaulters that are constantly increasing, you should now work from 8 hours to 11 hours a day.
What? And
it is not in the contract. So one day I decided to launch my complaint to the management, because sometimes the management sits back and it pretends that it is not even aware of whatever is going on, and they use the supervisors, team leaders, and all that.
Yes.
So when you go up there, you are told, go report to your team leader. You see? So you go to the team leader, he tells you everyone in this team is okay with this thing. So do you feel like we need you? You see? So I feel sometimes when you are bullied, people actually can think that you are trying to feel good about yourself. You know, when Nina is always complaining to the HR, they are calling me names, you know. Sometimes people will feel, or the management will feel, that Nina is playing victim. Yes.
We don't even need her.
Yeah,
she can go.
If we have 10 employees that are cooperating, do we need you?
No. Allow me to ask a question, a personal question based on what you just said. You used to work for debt collection companies.
Yes.
Debt collectors are bullies.
Oh.
They are bullies. Why do you bully people?
No.
Yes, I owe you money. But why are you bullying me?
Okay, what happens
why are you
actually?
Calling my parents? Why are you calling my boss?
What happens, Nina? The problem with most Kenyans, in terms of need, they don't read the terms and conditions. Ukienda pale chini, in every application that you sign up, unaambiwa read terms and conditions. You just tick. You know?
Yes.
Actually, what happens in these debt collection companies, you find that you have given them access to your contacts. You have given them access to your messages, and you've allowed them. It's in those. It's listed there, but people don't read. You've allowed them to call your contacts in case you default. Calling
my contacts is one thing. The language you use to address my contacts is a totally different thing.
Okay, what I can say, the environment in debt collection is very hostile, you know. So you find a lot of these debt collectors. Okay, I was a good one.
You never bullied. You can clearly say and stand and say I never bullied anyone.
Actually, there are customers who bullied me. You call Nina and anakuambia mimi si Nina, by the way. I'm not Nina. Yes. So actually, what these people target mostly, especially in men, they call the mother-in-law.
What?
Yes. Do you know Mugane? Yes. Mugane alichukua deni na sisi akatoroka.
What?
Yeah. So of course, when you receive a call from your mother-in-law, she might think that her daughter is starving. Yes.
Now back to the conversation we were having. Does it mean that we do not have framework in our offices, given that clearly there is no particular person I can run to when I'm being bullied in the office? Or in the case where there is none, now what should someone do, given that I can even get into depression because I'm being bullied, I have no one to talk to, I have no one to run to, and giving up is really not an option? What happens in such situations?
Again, what I can say is that first of all, we need to empower employees in terms of knowledge. They have to know what is their right. What is expected of me. You know, because you find that the contract and whatever is on the ground are two completely different things. First of all, you need to know as an employee of this company what is expected of me and all that. Number two, we need to strengthen independent institutions. You see? Like, for example, you find out that maybe for the police force cannot carry its own investigation. You cannot be the judge and the jury.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is true.
Basically. Yeah.
Here we have a question from Denzel Quinn. How about we reverse genders? When a male calls a female fat, short, dark, it's referred to as a body shaming or bullying. But the females calling out males as such is not body shaming or bullying. Nina and the guest, the mic is yours. How do we address that?
Okay, first of all, what I can answer that question is actually women have been body shaming men. Yes.
Yes.
Nina, tell me what it means when a woman says she cannot date a short guy.
Sorry, come again.
Tell me what it means when you go out there, you find, oh, no, I cannot date a short guy.
That is bullying.
Of course, because what you're trying to say is that short men...
Allow me to ask this question, and please do not bully me online. How am I supposed to address that statement? I just say, oh no, I cannot date you, Mugane.
Yes.
I should not attach it to the reason.
Yes. Okay, what I feel, there are a lot of things that are attractive about a person of physicality.
But what if that was the first thing that turned me off?
Shortness.
So you ask me, Sasa, okay, fine. Okay, you can't date Mugane. Why? So if I say because he's short, I'm bullying you.
Yeah. And then there's this narrative also about
What?
Yes, and maybe I know you've heard it somewhere about light skin guys. Sijui is light, sijui, yes.
Okay. Okay, let's just say then don't address the person,
Yes.
not the reasons attached to the person.
Okay, what I feel, I feel that there are short men that are good. There are big ladies or fat ladies or whatever.
Plump.
Thick. That are good.
Plus
and
size,
that have very strong personalities.
Yes.
We have also
true.
light-skinned guys and dark-skinned guys that have very strong personalities, and vice versa.
So according to Denzel's question, do you think we will ever come to we call it a memorandum of understanding when it comes to these gender wars? Will we ever sit at the table and agree?
What I think, actually we don't need to agree, because they say that when two people agree, then the second one is irrelevant.
Oh, okay. Yes. So when do we where do we put in the line? Tunasema this is not bullying, but this is bullying. Okay. How do we differentiate?
Yeah. First of all, anything that is demeaning, anything that affects how a person perceives themselves, that is bullying. Anything that interferes with my confidence, my personality, anything that is like convincing me this is not who I am, that is bullying. Yes.
Okay. Still on this gender conversation, I am sure we all know that me and you can be in the same office and we are both managers.
Yeah.
We are doing the same job, but you're paid 150, I am paid 30. Point is our salaries are different, but we are doing the same role. We are doing the same job. Because I am female and you are male.
Actually, I'm surprised if that happens, because from the contracts that I've looked at, they don't, when they talk about salary scales, if it is this job group, if you're talking about job group K, the salary scale is constant, whether male or female. Maybe now what happens, you can find in an institution whereby I'm male, but I'm burdened with a lot of responsibilities. We have the same position, Maybe I'm the manager and I'm still the accountant, but for you, I'm just the manager. I think it would be fair.
But there are situations where we're literally playing the same role. It's not like you have an extra role. We are both managers, full stop. Not manager and accountant, just manager. Unalipwa so, mi nalipwa 50. Ama unalipwa 80, mi nalipwa 40. Because I am female and you are male. Or even vice versa. There's even instances it's vice versa.
Okay, what I also feel, we have to come to a point whereby men have to realize that whatever traditional identity that was identifying a man, they are no longer there. Nina, when you go to even the matatu industry, I want to add on that. When you go to the matatu industries, in the ancient days, you used to find that it's only men. It was male dominated, but at the moment we have a lot of female conductors and all that. So as a society, I feel that we need to accept that women have come to a place of being empowered, and they deserve an equal opportunity in the workplace and even in the marketplace. Yes.
I'd like to go back a bit and still on the conversation on the psychological effects of bullying. We said I'm being bullied. I am now depressed. I'm on the verge of quitting. What should I do?
Okay.
Because I cannot run to the HR, I cannot run to the boss, I cannot run to my supervisor. I am going mad. What am I supposed to do?
First of all, Lena, what I feel we need to work on as individuals is our circles. Because a lot of depressed people could have been saved by the circle around them. Especially men.
Yes.
You know, so when you have a strong circle around you, they can be able to identify that you have a problem. A lot of people have, they exhibit characteristics of people that are depressed, but they don't know.
Okay.
When you look at them, you can see that this person is depressed, but they don't know. So, and then another challenge, for me, I see loopholes more than the positive side sometimes, and I think it helps. When I look at the mental health institutions and the people that are supposed to be helping people with mental issues, you know, psychiatrists and all that. First of all, the private practitioners are very expensive. You find that if you have an issue and you want to escalate it to a professional, you can't afford even the consultation fee. Just talking to them and telling them this is what has been happening to I'm going through. You see? So first of all, I think the government and the institutions burdened with this task, they have to take mental health as serious as physical diseases.
Do you think that every institution should have a department for mental health?
Of course, yes. And leave alone a department, it should be fully funded with practitioners that are qualified.
Amazing.
Yes.
How can we go about that? Do you think people can do that? Do you think bosses can really do that?
No, the only problem...
They should, yes, but will they?
The only problem that we have is that we have invested so much on what we can see. Mental illness is not so physical. It is subtle, as bullying is, you know. So when we come to psychological illnesses, it is very hard for someone to actually realize that you are going through something. Actually, when you're undergoing depression and all that, people might think, you might seclude yourself from people so that because you want to put yourself together. But people might think that Nina nowadays, maybe she
doesn't want to talk to people. She's feeling antisocial.
Yeah, she's feeling antisocial. People might mistake that. So I feel if we can invest more, you know, on transparency even in those offices. Because I've gone to places whereby there's no even suggestion box. You know, if you're undergoing something, there's nowhere to drop it. Yes. Basically.
Okay, since we have seen it may be difficult for institutions to set up a mental health department, and mental health, what do I call them? Mental health experts are pretty expensive to get to. Do you think as a country we should do something about it? We should come up maybe with, I don't know, an NHIF for mental health. Is there anything that can be done?
What I feel, I can only challenge our members of parliament because they have been given the responsibilities to amend and make laws on behalf of the citizens.
Yes.
We should have irreducible minimums for institutions. Nina, just like the way people took COVID-19 serious, just like the way people take malaria serious, just like the government has invested in those illnesses that quote unquote are physical, I think it is fair for us to also invest for this monster that is
mental health.
Yes.
Cyberbullying. I'm sure you have seen the menace that is there. What do you have to say about cyberbullying?
Actually, what I can say about cyberbullies, most of them are cowards.
Keyboard warriors.
Yes, they're just keyboard warriors. They are people that when you bring them on board,
come out and fight.
Yes, come out and fight. They cannot. Yeah, and it's so rampant because when you see something, for example, trending on Twitter, it's either it's a thread of people making fun of someone,
yes,
or memes that are funny to people,
but they are laughing at you.
Yes, but they are really hitting hard on the victim. Yes.
Do you think can we say that Is there anything that can be done?
Yes, of course. There is a law that has been...
What does the law say?
Okay, again, I'm not a legal expert, but I remember there's this cyberbullying it's act that was signed into law recently by the president. But what I feel, Nina, we have a lot of laws in this nation. We have a lot of written legal frameworks that can never be put into practice. Simply because the system is corrupt. Yeah. And we don't have even the right avenues to reach particular people. For example, we have 1 million tweets, you know, bullying maybe Mugane. And then we want the DCI to arrest 1 million people. It's nearly impossible.
True, it's very impossible, actually.
What we should be having is a very strict, excuse me, a very strict social media policies that if, for example, you violate particular things on Twitter,
your account is terminated.
Your account is terminated, and it becomes permanent. Yes.
Oh, that would actually work.
That would actually work. But now you see...
looking at Twitter, everyone would lose their account.
Everyone would lose their account, and then for Twitter, you can only report an account. You know, if you are just if the reports are many, they can lead to the account being terminated.
Yes.
But if it is only one person, they tell you they'll review. The review takes a few days, and before you get justice, the bullies get what they want first. Yeah.
Wow. So as we wind up, what is the solution to this menace, this bullying menace? How do we handle everything at this point?
First of all,
the whole chain from primary to secondary, straight into the workplace. How do we work around it? How do I deal with bullying?
First of all, we need to get away from the traditional perspective that bullying can only be physical. Because if you go to our schools, you find that the teachers focus so much on students that are fighting rather than students that have low self-esteem.
Yes.
You know, it becomes very hard. And actually, the good thing about most schools, they have a counselor within the institution. What also we should encourage? We should encourage speaking up.
Yes.
You know, and especially to men, Nina. Men have a very big challenge with opening up, speaking up, and all that. And you find that when things hit rock bottom, the only thing people opt for is suicide, which is quite sad.
Yes.
And another solution that I feel is viable for that is strengthening the institutions that are being like where you report to. You know, we should at least get justice, because most bully cases don't have evidence. And the law requires a lot of evidence for you to have a lawsuit on someone. How
do you have evidence that someone bullied you?
Yes, how do you have evidence I jeered? What's the evidence?
It's not like I was sitting and waiting for you to bully me and I was like this.
And then you take a picture.
Yeah.
You see? So, a lot of challenges. Another thing, as a society now, before we even blame the legal frameworks, as a society, we have to embrace one another and accept that Nina is who she is and she's perfect the way she is. If your race is different, if your accent is different from mine, I need to accept that this is Nina and this is how she is, and she's complete like that. Yes, we have to embrace each other. Yes, as humanity.
You as a social relations expert, what is your role in this conversation?
For me, is first of all, is to promote mental health and healthy social relations. When we talk about healthy social relations, it's everything across the board. When we talk about romantic relationships and any place that could be a source of distress to an individual. Yes, and recently, a few months ago, which is still in the process of going through the legal frameworks, I'm a co-founder of Hands of Hope. It's a self-help group that is aimed at assisting individuals with mental health issues.
Nice.
Yes, and we are trying to open up a platform whereby people can talk.
Yes.
Because when people talk, they get solutions. Yes.
So those who are depressed in their workplaces, from school and all that, can come to your foundation for
Yes,
help.
yes. Which is still upcoming, Hands of Hope. That one I can promise that in a few months we'll be fully registered and all that. Yes.
Where can we find you? Your social
my
media platforms?
social media, okay. I use Mugane Mugo for all my handles. Twitter at Mugane Mugo, Facebook at Mugane Mugo, Instagram at Mugane_Mugo. Yes, all my social platforms.
That was an amazing conversation. I have some feedback here. Frank Major Minor, we are the ones bullying ourselves for accepting other people's opinions affecting us. Good morning, Rise Today. Is that true?
Yeah, that is very true. Because when you accept the picture that, remember we say that when someone bullies you, they are beating it to a submission of this is who you are.
Of accepting that you're not good enough.
Yes, you're not good enough. And when you accept it, when you don't fight back, you now take the role of self-bullying. Yes.
Oh, okay. We have self-bullying.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
There is Sparks Pipey. Bullying should be shunned from childhood. Showing love to the young ones at home will let them show love out there and appreciate others when they go out, when they are grown. I wish parents should watch this and KUTV kindly talk more about this. Do you think bullying comes from home? Could come from home?
Bullying could come from home because you find that, for one, psychologically, any human being is selfish. When you look at children playing, these children, they don't believe that the other child can be better than them. And that is why you will always be saying, you will always hear a child telling you, oh, my dad is the best. My dad is like this and this. Oh, wewe mama yako akuleteangi kitu fulani. You know?
Yes.
So if there's a parenting role in this.
Yes.
If we don't deal with the childhood aggressiveness that is normal within a child of 2 years and all those to about 5 to 6 years,
Yes.
it can result to them becoming bullies, especially if they are very physically able.
Oh.
Yes.
Now, as a coach, as a social relationships expert, what parting shot or what word of advice would you give children in high school? Advice you would give the HRs, advice you would give employees in general, even the bosses?
Yeah.
What advice could you give them?
There's a saying that says, Nina, that sticks and stones cannot. Stick and stones can break my bones, but words can do no harm.
Yes.
I consider it backward because I feel that words can do more harm than breaking your bones.
Yes.
What I can say is that the people in high school, they have to realize that they are there for a season. You know, and that season is not worth causing some emotional damage to someone that you wouldn't even meet in the next phase of life. Because you find that whatever people compete for in high school are very basic things that could even be provided by schools. Another thing, what maybe I can suggest to institutions, especially schools, where I did my Form 4, there was a rule that no carrying snacks.
Yeah. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
When now you imagine there's a student that comes from a humble background, there's one that comes from a very well-up background.
Yes.
Then you tell these people, bring whatever you want. Actually, what you are doing, either side, you are bullying one of them. One, the child from a humble background will be feeling inferior because their parents cannot afford whatever the other children are bringing on board.
Yes.
On the other hand, the child that is privileged, that can afford all those snacks and all that, they are at risk of, it's just like when you are in a neighborhood and you are the only rich person.
Yeah.
You are at risk. So I feel that there should be a minimum or maybe a required quantity of what should be brought in. It should not exceed to a particular point. Another thing now to the HRs. What I think is ailing also our institutions, especially private institutions, is that they don't have enough employees. You find that there is one person that is
doing
playing
a job for like 3 or 4
yes,
people.
3 or 4 people. You find that the HR is still the accountant, and even in some schools, you find that the principal is the cook, is the bazaar,
Yes.
and all that.
And he's a teacher.
Yes, so we should invest, let institutions invest in employees and experts. Let whoever is trained for whichever role play
their role.
Yes. Another thing, what I can say now to the society, because these things come from a community level, embracing each other, love, very important.
Yes.
Yes.
Love your neighbor. The Bible says love your neighbor. Thank you so much for the conversation. We have learned that Sparks has told us to shun bullying from childhood, which is a very important point. If you're a parent out there, show your child love. What you cannot pour from an empty cup. You can only give what you have. So if you give love, that person will give off love as well. So enable your children by giving them love, show them peace, show them how to live with other people. And also don't allow yourself to go through self-bullying. If someone tells you you're not good enough, you know you are good enough. Don't allow the you are not good enough to get to your head. Don't self-bully. If you're good enough, regardless of what everyone else is saying. And also to all the people who may be going through depression, or you are in a toxic work environment, you're being bullied, you're being harassed, seek help. Find someone you can talk to. Dr. Mugane has said, find someone. Mr. Mugane has said, maybe you'll become a doctor one day. You have a dream to become a doctor.
Of course, absolutely.
Yes. Mr. Mugane has said, find someone you can talk to, create a circle, create, a union, someone you can open up to and tell them, yeah, me, I'm going through some depression, so and so is bullying me, I'm being harassed by my boss. Find someone to talk to. Embrace opening up. Embrace speaking up. Thank you so much for the conversation. To each and everyone who sent their feedback in regards to this particular conversation, we are grateful. We are taking a short break. We will be back.